Alright, today's project involves my truck. I got some towing mirrors for it about 2 weeks ago, and they have marker lights on the sides, but they only work whenever you hit the blinker. And so I wanted to make them work when I have the parking lights on and when I have the turn signals going. Couldn't figure it out, researched and researched. So the idea that I've come up with right now is not all mine. I actually found it on thedieselplace.com. I forget his username, but he modified his mirrors to have some LEDs in it, and by using diodes and resistors, he's able to get a lower voltage going to the LEDs for parking lights, and then whenever you hit the blinkers, it makes them brighter. So mine's not completely like his. It's actually quite a bit different, but the concept is the same. So I'm going to walk you through step by step exactly how I'm going to do it, and we're going to see if it's going to work together. I think it will. I mean, the concept is sound, and I had to go back to my old electronics days at 12 volt years and years ago with using resistors and diodes and everything like that. So let's go over here and look at the parts that we're going to be using, and it's all of about $4 worth of parts in a little bit of time. Okay, here's our little slew of parts. Now, it's a whole lot more parts than what we're actually going to use, but let's go over what we have. All right, we have a pack of 1.5K ohm resistors, or 1500 ohm resistors, and a pack of 1000 ohm resistors. Now, what these are going to do is they're going to limit the amount of voltage going to the LEDs on the mirrors, which are right here. So there's actually a pack of 6 here and a pack of 4 there. What it's going to do is it's going to limit, these things come on whenever you turn your blinkers on, and what we're trying to do is limit the amount of voltage going to here when we have the parking light going, so therefore it's actually a little dimmer than whenever the blinker's on. So because there's one set of lights in there and one wire, you have to use 2 12 volt sources going to those lights and limit the voltage on one, so one is dimmer, and then when the second 12 volt source comes, it makes it brighter. So therefore you go dim, bright, dim, bright, dim, bright, whenever you have your parking lights on. And the way that you keep from backfeeding power is by using a diode. And what a diode does is it allows only one-way flow of electrons. So because we're going to have 2 power sources hooked up, you don't want, whenever you turn on your blinker, for it to backfeed through the parking light system and blink your parking lights whenever you turn your blinker on. That's what the diode is for. So what we're going to have to do, and I think I've got this figured out pretty easily, we obviously have the blinker working because it turns it on and off, but we need to get the parking light signal to it. Well, I realized whenever you turn on your lights here, it actually has a light source inside here that operates with your parking lights. So I don't have to worry about running, where I'd seen this done before, he had run a wire all the way to the power underneath the hood. Now we're going to see if this is going to work. It should. It's 12 volts. It's fused. I want to say it's a 10 amp fuse, and those little LEDs don't pull much juice. So let's recap. We're going to have a diode in line. Let me see if I can find the actual diagram here. Here it is. This is all from Radio Shack, by the way. Okay, here's your diagram. See, if you have your LEDs on the outside, you have your 2 diodes from your 2 12 volt sources coming in, and then you have your resistor on your parking light. So therefore it's going to resist the amount of voltage going to it. Now with the resistor, I've chose 2 different models because I don't know which one I'm going to like better as far as resistor, as far as brightness. So we'll experiment with both of them. We'll put it on there and see what it does. So first things first I got to do is I got to get this door panel off, which on these are fairly simple. You just pull this off here, set it aside, and then you're going to pry this out, and then there's a little bolt underneath here. You got to take off this piece right here, and there's a little bolt right here. There's about 4 or 5 of them out and about, and there's a friction fitting right there, and then this whole door panel just lifts straight up. So I'm going to go get some tools and start working. Okay, so I had this little tool right here, which I've had for probably 15 or 20 years. It's from Snap-on, and it's used for picking things out. And what you do is you just slide it into areas, and it enables you to pry without messing anything up. And actually on these Chevys, you got to go on this side. There you go. See, it's got a little piece on here that actually has to, you got to get out that way, so it goes in a certain way and comes out a certain way. We have 2 7mm bolts, one of them behind this. And we have another one right underneath our armrest here. And this is the long one. Oh. Okay. There should be another one right behind this little plug here. And that's actually a Torx. I forgot. I think that's a T15. So I'm going to run and get a T15 Torx bit so we can finish. It actually happened to be a T20. So get this loose. And then there's a little piece right here that you want to take out. This makes things a lot easier to get off. And then I know you can't see it, but there's actually a little friction fitting over here. The way I get those off is I just pull the door panel out and those things pop out. So theoretically, should be able to lift straight up, just like that. So now here comes the real difficult part, is we have to figure out all of our wiring with the door panel hanging here, because it's very difficult to get the window switches out. So one thing I am going to disconnect is our light, so therefore it can hang down. Go ahead and disconnect the mirrors too. And I'm going to go get my 12-volt tester, and that way we can figure out which wire is which. Alright, so I went ahead and took the door switches off the door panel. Hope you guys appreciate this because that was a pain in the butt. So what we're going to do is we're going to take our test light, we're going to hook it up to a ground, and I'm going to go in here to my fuse box and make sure that the light is coming on. And it is. So that means that, let me see if I can get you over here a little better. There. Okay. So what we want to do, we want to find our hot lead that goes to the lights. And let's go and pick one here, turn on our lights. Interesting. Usually it's supposed to bing at you whenever you got the door open. Huh. Interesting. I got a problem here. I got to figure out what's wrong. Well, we're going to have to revisit this project at a later date. So far, this has kind of been a failure. Not the concept, but this truck is kind of giving me fits. I thought there would be a power cord in the switch itself because they illuminate whenever you turn on the lights. Well, there's no power cord there for that. I mean, there's power, there's, of course, ground, and there's all kinds of signal wires that go back and forth, but there is not a wire that turns off whenever you turn off the window switch, or I'm sorry, turn off the light switch. So I'm putting it back together. I've got a lot of work to do this afternoon. I don't have time to run a whole new wire up into the engine compartment and take all this interior apart, so I figured this would be a 20 or 30 minute modification, but it's turned out to be, it's going to be kind of a whipping. So I put the door panel back on. I'll pick it up whenever I get a chance, a couple of days when I got about 4 hours to fart around with it.